I fell for the hype. I fell for the hype. I fell for the hype.
Let's get into it.
T16, Tango2, Qx7, PlayStation remote. Which one's right for you? Coming up. I know I've made a video on radios in the past. Check it out. That is more focused on how to fly smooth, how to fly, get what you want out of a radio, gimbals and whatnot. I got this radio in December around Christmas. Bought it for myself, instantly did not like it. Went, customized it, put the looser springs on it, put the same stick ends, all that stuff. Still didn't like it, having a lot of issues. Not technically, just ergonomically, and having some weird flight differences, changing rates, all that stuff. Let's take a second and talk about what I didn't like. So the one thing I did like, let's talk about that, be positive. I like the gimbals, I really do. After switching the springs on these things, I really like the way they feel. Now at the same time, I do not like the gimbals. I don't like the way they sit up on the radio. So like, to have the same stick length, my thumbs are kind of up here, whereas on the Qx7 the gimbal kind of sits in the radio, so I can have the same stick length, which gives me the same control, but my thumb isn't hyperextended like that. Another thing I do not like about these gimbals is the size. So if you watch that other video I made, I do understand and I preach that small gimbals will give you more control, especially paired with lower rates and stuff. But what I'm finding is, and this is the same thing I found with props like the S3 props and 5146 or the T-Motor 5143 props, is I don't necessarily want too much control. I don't want too much precision, and I do not want too much responsiveness when I'm flying freestyle, because that kind of will exaggerate your mistakes. It'll exaggerate motions that you may have not intended to you know, go for. So things like stick smoothing will help you with that, but ultimately I want to avoid using as many crutches as I can. And with these bigger gimbals, I feel like first of all, I'm never hitting plastic. So with this, you'll constantly hear, you know, I'm hitting the plastic. And what that tells me is that I'm not getting the response that I am looking for. My brain and my fingers are doing two different things. With this one, you almost never hear me hit plastic unless I'm making an error. With a big gimbal, you can always shrink it down in software. With Expo, adding Expo kind of makes you lose resolution a little bit, because you're giving up a certain part of the beginning of your stick movement to be a sort of ramp, like a fade in or whatever, to your rates. You can even change your endpoints to shrink this thing down way smaller, but you cannot do the same, unfortunately, with a small gimbal. You can't increase your endpoints or make it bigger somehow through software. You've got 1,000 points and that's it. You can't give yourself 2,000. You're stuck. You're stuck at a certain size and you can't go bigger, but you can always go smaller. Ergonomics. So I'm a thumber. I don't want to spend too much time on the reasons why I didn't like this radio, but here we go. Boom, I like to rest my finger here. Pinchers even, I believe they rest their fingers here. That's why the Qx7 has a flat plane for the sticks, a curved plane that coming on side, as you can see here. You see it? It's kind of difficult to see, but they have it. And then they have a plane for the arming switch. For some reason, they didn't do that over here. And you know, when I'm going to arm, I'm hitting both of these buttons with my gorilla fingers. When I'm resting my finger here, I am inevitably gonna put too much pressure and flip this switch. So I've ended up using that as a dual arming switch, so I could just hit them both and hit them both. But then doesn't that kind of negate the whole purpose of dual arming, which is to have a switch here and here? So yeah, you could easily accidentally hit it. So that's a minor thing, but it is super annoying. Every time I want to land, I'm like navigating around this. When you've got goggles on and you're feeling your way around the radio, it is very annoying. So there's that. There's the battery life. The screen is cool to look at. I don't need a color screen. I don't want one. I want battery, as much of it as I can get. And I'm charging this thing weekly, really every 4 days, if you can believe it. Qx7 with these giant packs. Got about 7,000 milliamp hours in 2S. I'm charging this once a month, if that. Maybe once every month and a half I'm charging this thing. And it is a beast. So the battery life is really annoying. I do have the screensaver on, but you know, we're constantly touching things, so that screen is gonna come on anyway. I'm not too happy with the feel in hand. I'm not too happy with the grip situation. For me, it's the Qx7 all day, and I'm glad that I bought this, and so that I can just kind of confirm that no, my radio is where I want it. I still want to try an X9D, but I'm not going to be straying too far from this, because this is, I don't know if I'm just used to it because it was my first radio, or maybe just I got lucky and it just fits me. So things like the Tango2, not gonna really be for me, because I'm not much of a X-Lite fan. I like feeling like I'm doing something professional. Like when I hold this, when I look at this, it feels like, okay, we're here to do something awesome. We're not here to just dick around and play games. Although, you know, for some people that's what you want, you know. This is more like like, what is the Team Black Sheep thing? A serious toys. This is a serious toy. So it's kind of like a musical instrument. They sell MIDI keyboards for 50 bucks and they sell them for 5,000 bucks. They both do the exact same thing. They play the same notes, everything. But just like this, these two both the same S-bus signals coming out of them, but it's just a feeling thing, you know? So the feel of your keyboard will translate into your music, and just like the feel of your radio will translate into your flying, for sure. So I just like the way it feels. I like what it gives me. So I'm not going to be switching. I see a lot of people switching to the Tango2. You know, more power to them. I actually kind of like the idea of switching parts. One of the things that made me as kind of versatile as I am is that I was constantly switching parts, and I know they say, you know, fly the same exact thing, you'll master it, but the other side to that coin is switch things around a little bit and be good at everything. But it depends if you want to be a you know, master of none or whatever, and be able to fly everything a little bit. So I will be giving this away on my Patreon. I don't know if I'm gonna give it away with the quadcopter as a RTF bundle, because it's already bound and good to go on that quad. Wouldn't that be something awesome to get a completely ready to fly thing when I hit 30 patrons? Or I may just give it away separately. But go to my Patreon, patreon.com/maxbeamer, and sign up. For $3 you can win some crazy stuff. One other thing I wanted to say, so about the drama with Frsky. It was basically Frsky business practices with their retailers saying don't sell the Jumper radio or we won't give you product. That doesn't bother me that much. I know there was some drama with OpenTX. They kind of have deboed people out of using it, but I mean, TBS has their own OpenTX now, and they had their Jumper TX. Now they don't need it, but that just kind of pushes people to create their own stuff, which is even cooler. Like, don't be reliant on the same software that Frsky has. Let Frsky go make their own version of it. You go make your own version. But I don't know, you know, that's just, I understand it's open source and all that, but what I'm saying is I'm not gonna not purchase a product because of someone's business practices with their competition. Now, if it's child labor or something like that, of course, yeah, let's definitely boycott them And if they're selling defective product, let's boycott them. But I love my R9 system. Haven't had a failsafe in 6 months, I guess, something like that. I've never had a problem with any of it. Boom, these are running 2 different versions, so that's how I kind of cheat the system. So if I get a module that doesn't bind with this, I'll throw it on this axis. If it's not non-axis, I'll fly it with that. Yeah, so that doesn't affect me much. I just wanted to say that I don't think that that's another kind of hype situation, you know? So this is, I'd say, the most hyped product of last year, and both because of the Frsky drama and because of the Futaba stuff, the OpenTX stuff. So this is a product of drama. It's a decent radio. There's nothing crazy. You know, if the Tango 2 would have came out at that time, forget about it. And it had some of that drama surrounding it. Woo, that thing would have sold out and Trappy would have been happy. But we've kind of burnt out on the TX drama. So Tango 2 was kind of underwhelming in its release. And even though they had like big people, Kevin and Bot flying it, and, you know, reviewing it as soon as it came out, Vic, but it didn't get the same reception, and it's way different. Look at these. The Tango 2 looks way different than these. It looks more like this. So if that would have dropped last year, it would have been a storm of hype. So I'm almost glad it didn't. So now I know that I don't want one, but a lot of people may have gotten one and regretted it. So yeah, that's it. Let me know what your favorite radio is. Let me know, did you get the T16? Do you like it? Don't know what I'm talking about? Yeah, until the next one, guys. Peace.